This is Mickey. Mickey is my 4-year-old rescued central bearded dragon, and I'm just going to show you how glamorous he is, and we're going to give him a little bath today. As you can see, he's got a bit of wear and tear on him. Specifically, he's got MBD, which he had from before I got him, which you can see right here. And MBD is usually incurable, but you can still have a good life with a reptile if you know how to look after them right. So it's bath time. So I bath Mickey in our sink, don't tell my sister, and he gets his own set of stuff. He gets his special reptile calcium in his bath so that it can be like an electrolyte. I run the water pretty warm because he likes it, but I'm also like very cautious about what he's feeling. Then I sprinkle some of the calcium in, mix it up, and put in the lizard. Mickey's actually really great with bath time, so I bath him on average about once a week, just for his skin and for his health, and he absorbs a lot of stuff through his skin and his vent, I suppose. If he's shedding, I will bath a bit more, and if he is having tummy troubles, I'll also bath him a bit more. You can see here I changed the water out a bit more because it actually felt too cold to me, and if it's too cold to me, it's going to be too cold for Mickey. I know him at this point. He likes a bit of a warmer bath. As you can see here as well, bath time is his favorite time. He has often fallen asleep as I've been bathing him, and I know that that's a lot of like controversy in the bearded dragon community, but I'm always watching him. I've always got my eyes making sure that he is happy and that he is safe. So this is Mickey's little special brush. It is just a toothbrush, and it is specifically for him. And I give him a nice gentle rub down with the brush just to move any dust or dirt or stuck shed, because he's got a problem with stuck shed. And I get his tail in there, and I just gently brush him. He's not usually very dirty at all, but just for, health's sake, and also because he really seems to like it, especially when I rub him around the back behind his eyes and I suppose his jawbone area, around the back of his ears. So Mickey really loves it, but I've got to be very specifically careful around his feet because he's very sensitive in his feet. You'll see here how when I brush his head, I'm constantly adding more water just because I don't want him to have a dry brush going against his little scalp, because he's got, like I say, some stuck shed scars and that sort of thing. But he really loves this, and it's one of his favorite times of the week, just when I sit there and I just rub his head with this brush. It's crazy. Then very carefully here, because bearded dragons don't have a diaphragm, so they cannot be on their backs whatsoever. I hold him upright and gently brush through his beard to make sure there's anything, maybe there's food that got stuck. We move it along. I brush his stomach, and I also make sure to gently brush around his femoral pores on his thighs and around his vent, because he's had some blocked pores before and I want to keep his vent clean for him. So then he's back in and he will soak for a little while more. So bearded dragons, like all reptiles, are cold-blooded, but what that actually means is that they take on the temperature around them. So when he comes straight out of his warm bath into a cold environment, I always want to make sure that his towel's right ready for him, and I pat him down quickly to get him dry as soon as I can, because you can just imagine standing naked and cold after your hot bath. It's not very nice. So I'll usually put him under his heat lamp, or like today, I'll put him in the sun in my window because he likes to sit and absorb the heat. And I will gently take my time to dry him down. If he's had a really long bath, this will take even longer, just because I want to get that water off of him. I don't want him to be cold. I take a lot of extra care when I'm drying around his eyes and ears, because if they're sensitive for me, they must be sensitive for him. And he doesn't really mind the drying stage so much. I think he'll prefer to stay in the bath though, definitely. So here you can see that I'm just helping him stretch out a little bit. Like I say, he's got MBD, metabolic bone disease, so his back is a little bit skew from a lack of calcium from previous care. So I help him stretch out a bit in the sun. It warms up his bones, it helps the joints and that kind of thing. And I use this ointment called F10, which is an anti-germ, anti-fungus, antibacterial ointment specifically for animals. And I put some on his little stuck shed scarring on his head, because I don't know, I feel like it must help. And I put some on the end of his tail because I think he lost the end of his tail at one point, or like the very tip of it. So I just put it there just for precaution's sake. And then, again, really, really carefully, I take Mickey and hold him up vertically, and I'll put some on his femoral pores and just around his vent, just to make sure that everything is clean and healthy. And You definitely don't have to do this with every bearded dragon. I just do it for Mickey because he's got some special needs kind of stuff going on. Um, After he gets his little bath, sometimes I'll offer him a treat just because, well, I give him whatever he wants to eat. He was quite underweight when I got him, and he still is trying to put on weight. I give him his little treat, a superworm. He loves those, they're his favorites. And at this point, I just enjoy bonding with my little dragon. He's luckily very socialized, so he eats straight out of my hand, which is great. And I spend a lot of time feeding him like this, building the bond and making sure that he's eating enough. He also gets a bunch of mealworms. These are all dosed as well. So he just eats his heart out, and he eats whatever he wants, and the really fatty stuff because he's so underweight. After his bath, I'll take him back to the bricks outside where it's nice and warm and hot, where he can stretch his legs a bit more, build that muscle back up, and he likes to sit in the sun and stare at the trees and eat the ants on the bricks. And these are his clovers that he lords over. Thanks, Mix.